Welcome back to First Den 2026. Today we've got Lion versus Gen G. This will be live VOD review. Game 1 has just ended. Let's look at these drafts. Coming at the draft perspective, I have to say I'm not a fan of Lion's draft. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I am biased when the mid lane matchup, in my opinion, is bad. And Orianna is one of the best champs on the patch currently. And Silas is not a good champ into Orianna. Fundamentally, like the matchup is not good. Orianna is quite resilient, doesn't easily die to the Silas, and so right off the bat, two aspects of the Genji comp. I think Chovy has been playing phenomenally so far this year, and giving him a prio champion and a very strong matchup. I'm not a huge fan of this decision. Additionally, I personally prefer the Renekton sides of these, like Renekton versus tank matchups for the most part, if you have another advantage in the game. And the Orianna advantage in mid lane is serviceable enough for me because that's going to allow Genji the ability to control the map. And Lion's advantage is pretty strictly going to come from bot lane. There was a Seraphine takeaway from the Ashe Seraphine combination, and the Ashe Lulu, I assume, must be winning in this situation. Jungle matchup, it's Endeavor's Draven, it's the same thing. I assume Ashe Lulu must be winning. I'm not particularly familiar with MF Seraphine, but it must be that must be the case, and Lion must take advantage of that if they want to win this game. So if we get into the game here, so the first thing of note is that the junglers have mismatched clears. Is this too loud? Yeah, it is. Okay. The junglers have mismatched clears. Xin Zhao is pathing up, Jarvan's pathing down, which means that very frequently there are going to be situations where one side of the map has to play defensive at the same time. Like both teams have one side that has to play defensive. But when all of the action is centered on one lane, it can be very polarizing because what tends to happen is, here, before we get to that, Inspired does look for a gank on mid lane, and Chovy does have to blow flash on this, which is very big. This is going to help a lot in this mid lane matchup. Orianna does win in isolation, but it's not an isolation game. But going back to the bot lane, what tends to happen is that these lanes have to survive certain timings very well. And if you don't survive those timings, the game can explode. In this case, Lion must win from bot lane, and Canyon decides to go for a cheese gank. Now, it's not that cheese because he cleared his full jungle, but he's skipping the crab. So this is not the most, this is not like the most standard time to gank. But three summoner spells used, both flashes and heal. That's really bad. That's going to make it, you know, Genji's bot lane is now basically going to start winning. And there's an argument to be made that Inspired shouldn't have pathed up because he's pathing away from the lane that he wants to have winning. Also, I just realized that he skipped his blue. I did not realize this.
Let's go back to what I was saying. So Berserker's played 9 games. We talked about maybe getting a game.
Okay, this guy's tech is crazy because I assume that's intentional, but I literally didn't notice until right now. Anyways, Isles tries to cancel some recalls and dies for it. This is pretty unforced error, but it's really bad. So immediately seeing this, I'm thinking, okay, this game is going to be really hard for Lion. Genji are the obvious favorites, but having your lane that's supposed to be strong go down, in my opinion, and probably in most people's opinions, is going to make the game quite tough. Now, mid lane got a small flash lead, and now Lion go for the 2v2. However, the problem with what happened here was, if we go back and talk about why Lion lost this, the reason they lost it is that Saint needs to, like, if they're gonna flash onto Chovy, they need to actually commit to killing Chovy in this fight. The problem is that Canyon is already here like very quickly and knocks up Inspired, who has no E. So now they just can't go on Chovy, and Saint's E2 is going to time out, so he has to use it on the Flag and Drag. And this means that they have to change their targets onto the jungler, but because of this decision, the damage is just not there. Additionally, Inspired's level 4 while Canyon's level 5, and Inspired would have been level 5 if he had done his blue. So I'm not sure what this was for. He lost some time because he went to Tribrush, but it's a bit strange. Oh, I bet you Canyon. I think Xin Zhao didn't. Yeah, okay. The reason that he left up his blue is because he was worried that his Raptors were going to get invaded, and that's why he does this path. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, but it ends up being really bad because Canyon doesn't even try to steal the Raptors. Alright, so mid lane matchup with Orianna getting a kill is really tough, and GENG are going to get the bot crab. Again, mismatched jungles means that if the crab spawns near you, the enemy jungler is almost always going to be on the opposite side of the map at most points in the game, and Canyon gets a free crab, hits level 6, gets a free dragon with the fact that Silas has to base first, and their bot lane has prio. So free dragon. And a flash here from Isles. GENG up 2k gold, already a lot, but they have a lot of lanes that just automatically win. Mid and top will both gain a relatively significant CS advantage simply by existing. Mid lane is more than existing. It's a kill, the gank, the attention has been paid. An Ash Arrow, Chovy very deftly dodges there, so no gank, but Lion's doing a good job attempting to make things difficult. The problem is that there have been 3 ganks mid. The first one got the flash, but by the time... Was the second one? No, sorry. Both there were 3 ganks, but the flash was not punished after the first one, and this one didn't even blow the flash. So not effectively preventing Chovy from playing super aggressively and getting a more of a CS lead in this very difficult lane 1v1. Now, the bot lane situation isn't great for Lion, but it is fightable. Here, Canyon and Inspired are both here, and GENG display patience. The reason why is in at the bottom of the screen. Seraphine ulti is coming up very soon, and you'll notice that as soon as the Seraphine ulti is back up, that's when Canyon says, okay, it's time to go in, and we ult. We kill the Lulu, who is flashless, that we saw burned earlier. And, GENG, they make it look so easy. All the decisions flow into each other. They play the team fight so well. This is not, a glaze. I'm not trying to glaze them, but I can't deny what I'm seeing, right? Like, their decisions are very, very natural and understandable. So, grubs have not been taken. You might be wondering why. The reason why is twofold. The bot lane matchup is a lot more important than the top lane matchup. So we just saw both junglers being bot side on that earlier play. If one of them wasn't there, it would have been favorable to the other side. So they kind of matched until the bot kills. But in this instance, right, we see Xin Zhao. He could be trying to do the grubs, but it's a very scary proposition to do the grubs. If there's vision on you doing it, then this Renekton can walk down, the Orianna can walk up. Well, you don't really have any control. So GENG are kind of have implied pressure around the grubs. If Xin Zhao sneaks it, then he sneaks it, right? If they see the grubs go down, they'll probably look for a 4-man dive bot lane. So Inspired will have to book it. But in this case, he's not trying to do that. Instead, he opts to go to the bot side. Canyon Genji will do the dragon. They have mid prow infinite and bot prow as well infinite. And even top prow has infinite prow. So Genji can kind of do whatever they want. They have a 4K gold lead as well. The game is going very good. Here, Duro, one of the more high level concepts that gets talked about is ward tracking. In this instance, I didn't see any pings come down from line about this hex state. And what this means is that when Duro comes back on the map with 4 wards, they're not going to know that he placed 2 wards down on the top side. So this vision that Genji got in the top side is going to be very useful, and it's also going to be unknown. When you see the enemy not having all of their wards, you can have sort of a negative inference on where those wards must be. Here, Seraphine just didn't show for a while. It would be a very strong assumption to ping exactly where they would be, because they could be in a lot of places. Or Seraphine could be waiting at base, and then it might not be anywhere. So, good vision. So, the bot side of the map feel very safe. They know where Xin Zhao is. There's absolutely no worries. There's also no TP after K'Sante pushes top. So, they're very safe. 2 versus 2. And it is a good timer for Canyon to take these grubs, specifically because he sees the Xin Zhao in the top side. Now, Lion are probably going to have to make a Hail Mary play at some point. Inspired trying to get this crab, but Genji, they don't want to give the crab. They're up 4K. And Genji look for Isles. Isles barely gets out, has to ult himself, but that allows Lion to go into the back line. The flash Seraphine ulti onto the Misfortune. Misfortune does end up going down. And this fight was very close to being super good to get Lion back into the game, but Genji barely survived. The key aspects of this fight where the Seraphine doesn't end up going down, which really sucks. She gets her ulti off. Saint ult flashes, and this is good because Ruler would have definitely flashed if he didn't flashed or dodged this Seraphine ult if he didn't flash this. But because he doesn't hit Duro, then Duro ends up living. Chovy barely doesn't have these chains land. Like, they're so close. If this lands, he's going to die, but he barely survives. And it is a kill. It is good, but it's only cutting the gold lead by 500. It's not anything crazy. And then immediately out of the replay, Isles gets caught. This is, again, really clean from Genji. Not killing him. That is whatever. The really clean thing about this is they're overloading topside at 1 minute before the dragon to get first tower. So that's really good to get first tower, get a lot of gold injected. They're getting the tempo on this top wave. And now they're getting the top herald at the same time. They're all going to base. Then they can all go bot side on the dragon timing at the correct timing before the dragon. And the person who is top lane on Lion isn't somebody that is going to take the tower very quickly. So even though they are not going to go top lane and K'Sante is going to be able to hit this tower, they just don't care, right? They're willing to give this tower for third dragon. Isles has to blow flash. And Genji is now 5 stacked around this dragon area. So even if they weren't 3k up, it would be hard for Lion to contest. And Saint ends up getting caught. So it's virtually uncontestable for Lion. They're super clean. Dokla in top lane is going to keep pushing. And this is where Dokla is going to get back some of the lead. Inspired goes for a steal. Honestly, I don't think this is a very good idea. But actually, K'Sante's TPing in, so I don't know what they're doing. This is completely troll. I guess he's TPing to go bot lane. But in my opinion, I have no idea why. I guess this is why Dokla TP, because I think he should just stay top lane. But if he's basing that he's to TP in, then sure. Oh, I guess. Okay, so what happened was they thought Keen had recalled, I guess, because he's out vision. So they probably tracked that he has no TP and they thought he was going top lane, but Keen was just still here. So that's good. Man, that's crazy that they're doing that. Like, it's so unnecessary. Keen, like, he should probably stay top lane as Kazante. Genji know that if Keen leaves, they could get 4v4'd. So Keen doesn't, he just allows Kazante to take the top tower. That's a small detail that I didn't even realize. So, again, there's going to be another overload timer. Genji want to play around bot side currently because the
thing I'm a little bit concerned about,
top tier 1 is already dead. Renekton can basically 1v2 Sylas and Zhao just because of how that champion works. Like, Renekton is just good into Sylas and Zhao. So this time frame for Renekton to deep push top and then come mid is really good for Genji's timer. He can just sit here, and another reason that Renekton gets to stay here for so long, we don't actually see it, and I only realized just now, is Saint is freezing top lane. Saint does this a lot. You'll see it in a lot of his games that he just freezes the side lane. So if Saint is deciding to freeze this, this is the decision. Like, this is the reason that Genji are saying, okay, we're gonna just herald this wave. We let Orianna push out bot lane. We have lots of vision for her, so she's very safe. We herald the bot lane. Renekton is just sitting around mid defending our duo lane and the herald. Orianna got bot tier 1 and base and TP to mid, and now they get to siege mid. Commonly, you're not going to siege without Nash, but Lion's comp actually have quite low wave clear. So if anyone from Lion wasn't here, I think Genji would be a lot more aggressively trying to take this tower. But because genuinely all of Lion is sitting here, they're being very honest with this defense. Genji say, okay, we don't need to make a contest play. The side waves aren't particularly good for Lion. Even though Genji is so much stronger, the waves are going to like push in because they're more powerful. It ends up not, like, they're not going to lose a substantial amount just because of where the waves are. Here, Inspired is going to try and sneak this crab, but Genji are ready for the timer. And a lot of the things that happen this game, I feel like Inspired has been very over enthusiastic about these plays. Like, I feel like trying to get that crab is kind of like, I don't know, you clearly, like, surely you know that this shouldn't be working. But okay, he does come to going down for it. Not the biggest deal, but it is just another part of the game going in the wrong direction. It's Soul. There's some posturing happening around the dragon. Dokla doesn't get caught, but the TP coming in, but it is a Kazante. Genji aren't going to full commit. Canyon's actually the one that is potentially too far. Gets quite chunked, but the big differences are Keen getting onto Inspired and blowing in the Xin Zhao. It's really big. But the much more important thing is Berserker goes too far and gets knocked up by Flag and Drag. And that, combined with the bullet time, means that the enemy AD carry is dead. Kazante kills the Seraphine, but will get traded by the Orianna. Sylas didn't really have an opportunity to get into this fight. Just had no angle. And Xin Zhao also kind of just got zoned off by the Renekton. So it's a free Hextech Soul. Genji can't do Baron, but they can't do Baron with MF and Jarvan because those champs can kill Baron very well as two. But out of the replay, Inspired gets caught trying to place a sneak ward on Nash, ends up going down. Hextech Soul, I mean, the game's like very over. While this is happening, Lion trying to salvage the game is like hoping that someone on Genji is inting over here, but none of them are. And because they have Hextech Soul, they just get chased down forever. And a nice Seraphine ulti lands onto Sylas and Lulu. It's game over. 25-minute game, but Genji played very well. Lion, I think their comp was quite bad. I don't really like the way that this worked out. I want to see Dokla playing some of his cheese stuff that not other people play, and I want to see Saint on a matchup that isn't so terrible. I think the bowling matchup and the jungle matchup was fine, but those were really the changes I want to see going into game 2. Looking at game 2's draft, we've got exactly what I wanted out of Lion. They picked a range matchup for Dokla Aurora into Mbessa. I'm not sure how much I like that, but I'm sure that I'm just heavily influenced by the fact that I think Mbessa is completely broken. I'm also not sure I really like the game strategy from Lion, where they pick Aurora, and then when the enemy picks Galio, we pick Ahri. Like, in my opinion, Aurora and Ahri are functionally the same against Galio. Like, they're basically the same thing. I don't think one has a significantly better matchup. So I'm surprised that we don't pick a different champ into this Mbessa, but I suppose we just don't feel like we have another champ into Mbessa because Renekton's down, but literally every other champ's up except Rumble. But because Poppy's down. But regardless, inspired on his signature Viego. Genji have a pretty Genji comp. Vi, Galio, Corki, Rakan, like they're all playing champs they normally play. I think the bot lane matchup is probably, I don't know, like it's fine. Like, I don't know the exact specifics, but Yunar's going to scale and Corki's going to win early. So it's just going to depend on how the teams play. Starting off with this game, we have a good trade. Bot is going to trade a lot early game. This is still after the game. I just had some technical difficulties. There's a nice little trade here. The bot lane matchups are very hard for me to know because they change so frequently, and all these new champions change things up. Like Corki wasn't a bot lane for so long. Yunar's a new champ. I swear people change their mind on how supports work. So I don't know how this is supposed to go, but the important thing is that Lion is doing a pretty good job at trading early on, I would say. They get a couple good trades. They get a cheater recall, call base for Yunar. Call's really nice on Yunar because you double dip on the on-hit healing with the Q. That's very nice. And there's a trade coming in bot lane here. It's another nice trade. The CS is pretty even and equal, but yeah, very nice trade here for Lion. Feeling good. And that's going to lead directly into the next trade and kind of explain why this Lion sort of overextend here. Isles just goes a bit too deep. No Aftershock. I don't know if he thought he had Aftershock, but without Aftershock, he just dies so quickly. Both junglers, the junglers were matched. I don't know if I mentioned that, but whenever jungle clears are matched, then you can always expect the enemy jungler to be wherever you're going to be. Duro does have to flash out of the queue. It was a good flash from him to survive. 1 for 2, but importantly, the AD carry survives for Lion, so she gets to push in the wave. Canyon holds this bot wave, as you can see. He holds the bot wave to not let it crash, so Ruler doesn't miss that many creeps. The result of this, though, is that Vi is pretty delayed. Also, Inspired noticed that Canyon had not done his last camp, so probably made an educated decision that Canyon was most likely going to want to kill his last camp before basing, and decides to do the grubs to do the dragon. And this dragon's not contested because Canyon's in base. Additionally, while that bot fight was happening, Aurora did use flash, traded with Mbessa, almost killed Keen there. That would have been huge for the game, but Keen did barely survive. But a nice dragon here. And then out of this replay, importantly, this is why we talked about the flash being down from Dokla. Or not necessarily here, but actually, yeah, no, this is why flash is down. Like, if flash was up, then maybe something crazy would happen, but Dokla just gets dove, Vi no ult, and that's why Aurora had no ult earlier from a trade. Here, Berserker takes a lot of pain, but does survive. Level 6 advantage for Genji's 80 carry. Gonna be the difference maker there. Berserker has to base. Genji's sitting on a ward, so nothing crazy will happen. Okay, so something I need to bring up as well, I forgot to bring up, is because, so if we just pause for a second, right? Both junglers were pathing up, right? Now, Dokla is like gonna get dove and die. Canyon skipped a lot of his, or sorry, yeah, no, sorry. Both junglers are pathing down. Both junglers are pathing down. So, Canyon, when he went for this play, is not starting his camps. This results in him basing. He doesn't immediately go back to his camps, probably because he's too low. And he swaps his clear. So now the jungle clears are mismatched, which, like last game, whenever there's a mismatch clear, one side on both teams, like both teams have one side that has to play very safe. So now Canyon has flipped his clear, and this is going to result in the junglers having timers for the other side that you have to be very respectful on. This explains why Viego is in the enemy bot side. He checks the pink ward, and Inspired, I don't know if he checks this red to see if it's up, but I think Inspired has not recognized that there has been a jungle clear that has flipped, and he just cleared some vision and then went to his Gromp. This is pretty smart. Also, Dokla's getting solo killed on the screen, if you're curious about what's happening on the screen instead of the minimap. Because Inspired showed on the red, this allows Canyon to just walk in after his clear and just do the grubs for free. Now, even if he knew they were here, Keen killed Dokla, so Inspired is unlikely to try to do anything at the grubs. But they see that the grubs go down. Genji's bot lane opt to just recall. And, oh, no, never mind. Lion just shove, thinking that Genji's bot lane recalled. And, okay, gets a nice one. But that's all the most important things. The game will continue. The big problem point for Lion currently is probably this top lane matchup. I feel like Aurora is not getting enough out of this, and like playing AP champs against fighters very often goes really poorly if you don't get ahead, because Hexdrinker is just so strong. So Lion decide, hey, we're gonna 3-man dive this Ambessa, and it goes absolutely terrible. Just absolutely terrible. Thankfully, it's only a 2-for-1. It could have been a 3-for-1, but it's still terrible. Berserker has to be out of this lane. Gets kind of zoned. Like, just recalls to not be in lane during that timing so she doesn't get dove, which is intelligent. And now this top lane matchup's even worse. The Aurora will never be able to contest this. Wow, that guy was dead if Canyon pressed flash. I think he just assumed Saint would press flash. That's crazy. So, the bot lane matchup, there is a fight that happens. It starts off actually quite good for GENG, but because they use so much damage onto Isles, GENG kind of run out of juice, and Berserker ends up staying alive long enough that the Ruler just doesn't have enough damage to kill the Yunar afterwards. Now, Canyon is here again. Mismatched jungle is clear. Very common to see that both junglers are just on the opposite side of the map. So the Vi is there and the Viego is not, which is tough. Canyon sneaks this dragon. I'm kind of surprised that he managed to get this off, because it's not like Inspire's actually doing his camps right now. He's doing one camp, I guess. Oh no, he already sees him before this. I guess they just didn't think he was going to do this, but I don't think that this is actually a timing he's allowed to do the dragon if Lion try to stop him. But they don't try to stop him. Inspired has better items as well, currently. Kraken Dirk is definitely better than full sentence guy. Alas, Genji get the dragon, and Duro gets caught trying to get vision here. Now, it is objectively bad to get caught there, and Canyon ends up getting charmed and will end up going down, actually. He gets out, and then he ults back in for some reason. So, I don't know. Bit of a spaghetti there. Chovy tries to save him with the ulti, but Chovy has to flash away. What I was talking about with Duro is sometimes you have to, like, sometimes good supports will die doing vision sneaks because the expected value of these vision sneaks is pretty high and the risk isn't that high. And well, okay, the expected value isn't that high, but the risk is actually quite low because a lot of the times you're going to live doing this because there has to be literally everybody there to punish you for it. And in this case, an instance, Duro does go down. And it's a nice little gold injection for Lion. So Lion doing much better this game so far. Saint especially has a big gold lead. Now, a lot of that is that he has first strike and cashback. So he's just farming gold. He's printing gold, essentially. He's also playing into Galio, who you get to farm a lot of gold off of with first strike. I think the rune is kind of fine, honestly. I used to think it was terrible, but I think it's actually fine because I think Galio is just so strong that playing to like actually deny him, it just isn't a real thing. So you might as well just farm gold and go even. Okay. At the current game time, I rate Canyon does grubs. Nicholas, it's past 50 minutes. It's the Herald. So I'm an idiot. But yes, Canyon's doing Herald. All of Lion is bot side, but they don't opt to send anything. The last time they tried to dive the Mbessa, it didn't go so well. So I understand why they didn't try to do it again. Also, I just realized that Mbessa doesn't have free boots. I wonder what she does have. I kind of missed that. Usually people go free boots. Okay. So while Mbessa is hitting this bot tower, Saint's walking in. Keen goes for the ulti. But Kenyon had just done the Herald. So this is not really the timer that Keen is supposed to be looking for something. Saint misses the charm, so he has to flash away. But Keen does end up going down. Huge Kraken, 6th auto. Does a lot of damage. That's why he built that on Viego. Huge burst there. And then Genji's bot lane, they just saw Ruler use the Valkyrie over the wall, so they know it's down. And they feel confident enough to go for this 2v2. And things are turning around. Lion's getting a gold lead. They're going to get this bot tower, or very nearly. I think they do get the tower. And get the wave. So game's going well. Mid-wave, Chovy is just completely chilling. But the game, like, difference between this game and last game is stark. Lion now has a gold lead, and there is going to be something funny that happens. I'm not just showing the replay for no reason. Listen, this is hilarious. Okay, wait.
They can't kill you ever. You are so shit.
Ruler hitting an aw shit. So relatable, so relatable. So, dragon is spawning. Genji are gonna get this dragon because Lion don't have any ultimates. Not really much. Like, Lion is not gonna feel confident to fight this, so they opt instead to go for not fighting it. They didn't like actually do anything. They just don't fight it. So, game nearing 20 minutes, looking quite solid. They're 2-1, they're down 2-1 in dragons. That's fine. And the Lion squad opt to they've identified the person that they want to kill, and it's Keen. Unfortunately, Galio is already just chilling here, and Lion kind of just messed this up. I don't know if they overestimated their damage or didn't see the Galio that is literally on vision right now. You can't see because there's 8 bajillion words, but Galio is definitely bot side lane. Everyone knows that. And we just full commit and use literally everything, but we are trolling as Lion. We need to get more rotations of spells and auto attacks before we press R with Viego to buffer the Galio ulti with Viego ulti. So that's really bad because now our entire gold lead's gone. We had 2k. Now Genji dropped the Herald. They're gonna get mid tier 1. They die both people die. They don't get anything substantial top lane. And even Galio is gonna get a couple plates in the bot. tower. So the entire gold lead evaporates in the blink of an eye. Not really what you want to see, but we're still even. It's okay. The game will continue. We have good scaling with Yunara, with Viego, and this Ari is still printing money and still up a lot of gold. Now, Baron, or excuse me, Dragon is spawning very soon, but Baron is currently up. GENG are chilling around topside for Baron control. They're not immediately going to the Dragon control. They're staying around Baron, and they get very deep into topside, and a fight eventually breaks out here. Keen finds... There is no way that he blind ulted that, bro. Bruh, dude. Okay, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know that he blind ulted it. But Keen did blind ult the Ari. And then Inspired goes in afterwards and just gets completely one-shot. So... Okay. I think Mbessa ulti needs to get a cast time increase. I think this ult is just too... It comes out too fast. Pros are very good, and so consistently they don't react to Mbessa ulti because it's that fast. It's a Vi ult that's, you know, like a quarter of a second, less than a quarter of a second of duration before you can... Well, it can't be that short. It has to be like half a second at least. But the Ari didn't ult because she's off vision. She's not realizing that she's going to get just freaking Mbessa ulted. That's why she's not ready for this. Although she did land the charm, which is kind of hilarious. So maybe she would have been... She was ready. But the main thing is that Inspired goes in, dies instantly. The Galio ulted in, but Aurora had to TP in. But the fight was already instantly lost, so I don't think she bothered. Saint does get away here. And GENG get Baron off that pick. So at 20 minutes, Lion was up 2k. Now GENG is up 3k and have Baron 4 minutes later. They are pushing mid bot. The Mbessa TPs to the bot side of the map. Keen, this game was all about him, and he lands another ulti onto Berserker this time. Is just 1v3ing the enemy team under their tower. I don't like this champ. I still think this champ's OP. No one can convince me otherwise that this champ is not the most overpowered and disgusting champion on the entire patch, in the entire game. K'Sante, please K'Sante this champ, Riot Games. And GENG are going to get the inhibitor off this. Lion opt for a fight, though. And this fight decision ends up being a foolish one because not only do Lion lose the fight, but they lose it so overwhelmingly that GENG can push to try to end here. It's not that easy though, because the AD carry is alive, Berserker is up, so they do have to kill Berserker, and if they can kill Berserker, GENG can end here. Lion looking to start this fight, but who else than the Mbessa uses her 4 dashes to get onto the Yunara, get her flash, and then the rest of GENG can flash follow up. GENG, it was a slow victory for them, 26 minutes. They were down for a while, but the result is the same. GENG going up, going to game 3, looking at the draft. One of the aspects of draft that I feel like a lot of people online don't appreciate is that drafts are a reflection of what you are capable of performing on. And I personally don't like Lion's draft strictly because there is no champion that is getting carried into later stages of the game. They have Lucianami, Wukong, LeBlanc, and Aurelia. All of those champs are strong early. So from that perspective, I like that they're going to be coming at GENG with some heat. But if we look at GENG's comp, they also have a relatively strong early game. But they also have Mel, who is going to scale really, really well into the late game. Now, Lion's champs have, like, some of them scale pretty well. Like Lucian and Wukong scale pretty well. LeBlanc and Wukong are not going to scale that well. But I just personally prefer compositions with... You can have 4 early game champs, but you should have 1 late game insurance champ. It makes the games a lot easier to play. Now, from an objective standpoint, that is not necessary. That's purely, you know, because people make mistakes. But just from a compositional standpoint, that's the way I see it. From an actual, like, looking at the champions, the top lane matchup is a Aurelia lane, so it's just a complete... Everyone should pay attention to top lane. And if Aurelia gets behind, that champ's completely useless. Bot lane matchup is also really volatile, though. Lucian against Caitlyn with a Nico. Like, mid lane is also LeBlanc lane. LeBlanc is, like, pseudo Aurelia because everyone has to focus. So, like, there are a lot of volatile lanes. It could very easily get out of hand for either side, depending on how things go. And going into this, you really hope, for Lion's sake, that the game starts off well, because if it doesn't, then it might be ugly. So, the junglers match clears. Now, this is probably good for Lion, because they have the very early game focused side, so they want to fight more early game. Chovy gets some very nice trades on mid, and the first point of contention is going to be around the bot side of the map. The junglers are both here. Inspired does get this scuttle first and makes a little fake juke here, pretends like he's walking to the top crab, but then turns back around and looks for a bot play. Problem is that Lion's bot lane takes so much damage in this 2v2. I feel like this is happening all the time lately. Duro goes into a minion there. I'm pretty sure if Inspired smited, like, Duro would have died. Inspired steps on one trap and then steps on another trap and almost dies. Berserker's trying to help Inspired, but then just gets auto-attacked twice and dies. And that is a complete disaster for Lion. Their bot lane gets 2v3'd. Their jungler wasted a bunch of time going. Now, maybe their jungler's not going to be that far behind in terms of the pace on the camps, but the big problem is the bot lane. The jungler is going to be fine. He's only been down a couple seconds. But now the Caitlyn Nico lane, again, all of these lanes are actually quite volatile from in both directions. Like, if either side gets an advantage in any of the lanes, that is going to snowball the game. So afterwards, we look towards the top side of the map. Mid taking heavy trades and top taking heavy trades. Aurelia, the counter pick into the Jace. That is not what you want to see. Dokla smiling about it. I do like that Dokla picked a champion like Aurelia. You gotta play to your strengths. Unfortunately, it didn't work this time. Saint making a very silly mistake where he walks up to a level 6 Mel and dies. So, not the best play. Again, every lane is quite volatile. The least volatile is the mid lane somehow, even though it's a LeBlanc lane. And Chovy is already up 20 CS and solo killed. The top lane matchup, which is an Aurelia, is up 15 CS and got solo killed. Bot lane also got 2v3'd. So, I was talking about how if Lion gets behind, the game is going to get ugly. Yeah, this is already quite bad. However, it's not as bad as yesterday. G2 got stomped even harder in their match, in their last game. I think it was the last game, but they got stomped even harder in that one game. So, at least we're better than EU. We're better at not getting stomped as hard. GENG are going to get the dragon. Lion do not contest. They feel like they shouldn't contest. They have mid and bot prio from GENG, so it is just going to be free. Saint trying to make plays. I've actually never played this Mel LeBlanc matchup, but I don't know. Chovy made it look good. I guess I should try it. Berserker stuffed onto the trap behind the tower. That's a classic. And one of the aspects that maybe would make you not want to pick Aurelia here is precisely what happens in this all-in. This all-in, I think, is winning for Aurelia, but it's not winning when a Pantheon's coming in. And yeah, 2 kills for the Aurelia. Now it's getting pretty bad. Pretty bad. 3 plates for bot lane. Keen doesn't die to Wukong over. Excuse me. Keen doesn't die to Wukong over, or like just chasing into the jungle. And we're just going to see if GENG can translate this lead. This is certainly enough of a lead to snowball the game into a victory. 3K in 8 minutes. Every single lane is winning. Jungle is winning. Nobody is behind. The enemy team comp doesn't scale well. There are an uncountably infinite number of reasons that this is a completely lost game. And this is just another one. Nico goes for the classic Nico lane minion thing. So, absolute tragedy. Another death there for Aurelia. 1.5k gold lead for the Jace. Doesn't matter now that it's Aurelia into Jace because you're down so much gold. With the pressure that Chovy... Keen actually was sitting around mid, helping Chovy out. With the pressure that this provided, Canyon is going to do the grubs. And we're seeing if Lion are going to get perfect gamed at this point. Inspired gets the crab, and Saint comes in. They're looking for Chovy, and Chovy does end up going down. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that with Keen TPing in, that this fight still ends up going poorly for GENG. Berserker goes down to the ultimate, and Saint... Oh, he didn't flash the Q, so he is going to end up going down as well. So, no perfect game, but GENG do get 3 kills for it, and they increase their gold lead further. Nice TP there from Keen to turn that fight around. As soon as this replay dies, excuse me, as soon as this replay ends, Lucian and Nami go for the trade onto Ruler, but Duro is there. I mean, they're taking the very small point in time where they have equal items. Collector to Stormrazor. They have the same items. They go for the 2v2. It's a pretty doomed game state. I don't blame Berserker at all. And GENG are going to get the next dragon. No contest from Lion. There are things we could be talking about with like vision and stuff, but honestly, the game kind of started devolves into a lot of people just fighting. Some nice vision control from GENG in the top side, but Berserker is caught on the bot side of the map. Lion are going to... This is actually quite unusual for Lion. From what I remember in the LCS, they were the team that were very good, like over defensive with not going for a like play that would allow them to explode their loss faster. But in this game, that does not really happen. Dokla goes for another 1v1. Duro is there again. And Lions seem to be taking literally and genuinely every single possible play that they can. They go for this bot play. Then, as soon as Isles comes mid, Berserker goes on Ruler. This one does end up working. Duro isn't here in time. Ruler goes down. So, that's a big... I don't think... It was a shutdown. So, Berserker gets a nice shutdown there. And that's a small gold injection. So, speaking of Collector on Lucian, that's not usually the build. Usually it's Stormrazor. Well, usually it's Essence Reaver, and then I started seeing Stormrazor. I don't know why it's Collector all of a sudden, but Collector is the item that everyone loves to hate on, and then now everyone's building it on every champ, every game. So, for some reason, the analysts, when they compare the stats of an item and don't take into account its passive, think the item's bad. So, I don't know what's going on there. 7k gold lead thereabouts for GENG. 15 minutes in. We're just going to look at all the exciting little skirmishes and trades here. Another play. Ruler and Ruler are super pushed up. Okay, that was Duro, but it looked like 2 Rulers for a sec. Ooh, defenestrate. What a nice word. Not like a nice word, but like a fancy word. And here, Lion's bot lane do face check a pink warded bush and get instantly killed. So that kill onto Ruler gets traded back very swiftly. Jace gets the top tier 2 because Aurelia was hovering mid for that trade, or for that play. And Kenyon does Herald off of the bot lane duo. Dying. Excuse me. And Duro gets caught by Inspired. Inspired uses Flash. And I believe Duro does end up going down here. Boom. Nice kill there from Inspired. Keen doesn't want to let Inspired get away. Oh, I clicked forward on my keyboard. Keen doesn't want to let Inspired get away with it. Trades back. Ruler is also here. Ruler cannot ulti the LeBlanc because it'll get blocked by the clone. But a 1-for-1 nevertheless. Now, clearly... Oh, actually, before we talk about that, GENG trying to fight, but all of Lion is here, and that's a 1k shutdown for Berserker. The Kaelin ulti does eventually kill the LeBlanc, waiting for LeBlanc to be alone. Ruler flashes or dashes over a trap and does go down because of it. Doesn't kill Ruler as either. So there are lots more fights. Dokla is now getting caught top lane to Pantheon ulti again, as well as Isles is somehow in this position on the map. Don't ask me how this happened, but Isles is just going to waste a bunch of time and then eventually go down. Very, very sad. Isles goes down. Kill for Ruler. GENG do the dragon in the meantime. They don't even need 4 of their members or 3 of their members to do the dragon. They're up 9k gold at 18 minutes. They pop the Herald bot lane. They're going to push mid bot. LeBlanc is too slow on top side to really react to this. GENG siege mid. Another team composition from Lion where they don't really have siege. Same as game 1. GENG get both mid and top tier 2s. And again, I say again, GENG Keen is going to be overextended. I'm yawning because the game is... I mean, it's kind of silly at this point, you know? There are leads that are throwable, and when they happen, it's kind of hilarious. But when they don't happen, it's not hilarious. It's actually just lame. So, I thought Keen... I'm sure Keen dies eventually. Yep, here we go. No flash. Gets jumped on by Lucian. He does trade back onto Aurelia, but Aurelia is 0-6, so that's definitely good for Lion. Nice little kill there. And here, Kenyon and Duro... excuse me, Kenyon and Duro recall, or Duro recalls on a ward. So Kenyon and Chovy are in a overextended position. Kenyon tries to ult out, but it doesn't work. And Chovy, I believe, gets away. He has the proto belt, uses the whatever that ability is called, Grand Reflection or something. I think it's something like that. So 9k gold lead from GENG. It's gone down a bit. Keen's died a couple times, but that is not going to stop GENG from starting this Nasher. They have a full clearing of vision. They have tons of wards around. Duro is going to sit and look for the engage. Pretty sure if Lion was close enough to look for this Baron, they would have just turned, but instead GENG think that they can finish before Lion get in range. It is kind of close, but any fight is going to be winning. Inspired looks for the engage, and to be honest, their engage is really good. Ruler and Chovy are really low, but okay, they're down so much gold that it doesn't even matter that their engage is actually pretty good, because don't look at top lane score if you are an NA fan. Big Dokes is... he's... never mind. I was going to say something and I changed my mind. Dokla is having a rough game, but this is just how Aurelia plays. Like, this 0-7 is not the same as a Cassante 0-7. If you're 0-7 on Cassante, you're completely reported. 0-7 on Aurelia means you didn't like go down 0-4 and then stop trying to solo kill people. You like kept doing it and then kept dying. And that is commendable from Big Dokes. Here again, Dokla trying to defend this bot tier 3 when they have Baron, but does go down. That was not a good instance of dying, though. That was kind of him just inting. 0-8, 5k gold lead for Keen. And Lion at risk of getting beaten again in under 24 minutes, but with their defense, they're able to hold this off. GENG don't manage to end here, and the Canyon minion is blocking Inspired. A metaphor of the series, Lion can't even get past the Canyon minion. Got no tier 1s in this game. Definitely got some in the other games though, but maybe not a tier 2. Lion go for the flank. This is their final hurrah. They full send it because the Infernal Soul is up, so they just feel like they have to fight. And it went terrible. GENG win this game off of this push. Saint tries to kill Canyon at the very end, but it doesn't end up mattering. Very clean series. My player of the game, I'll be honest, I've been kind of dogging on Canyon for a while, but this entire tournament, I feel like he's actually been playing quite well. And as a reward for that, I'm giving him my player of the series. I think he played quite well today. You know, everyone on GENG played well. It was 3 25-minute victories, so everyone played well. But I think Canyon especially was playing very good mechanically, and his decision making was very good. So congratulations to GENG, very well earned. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked and enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully the next series will not be a 3-0. We can only pray. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.